welcome to the Hub Biz Life show, where you can get ideas to help your eco-conscious business grow. And today I am joined by Peter Ellington of Triple Bottom Accounting, talking about making your finances less taxing. So Peter, welcome. Great to have you on the show.
Hi, Karen. Thanks for having me.
Brilliant. So as well as running a successful accounting practice, Peter's also an associate professor, lecturing part-time at the University of Anglia Business School, and teaches taxation and accounting and finance on the Executive MBA program. So we've got a lot of questions here, and we're going to cover as many as possible. So first one, Peter, is there's a lot of talk about obtaining bounce back loans. Should I get one?
Okay, I think the answer to that has to be yes. The Chancellor has just extended the repayment period to be 10 years. And these, the cost of these loans are very low. They're at 3%. And you don't have to pay any bank back for the first 12 months. So the answer to whether you should get a bounce back loan has to be yes, even if you just put the money on deposit for a rainy day, just in case you get a disaster. So I got £25,000. It's sitting on my bank account as an amount that I owe, but I've also got it on deposit. And if anything goes wrong in the business, I've at least got £25,000 to get me to somewhere else. And so, yes, it's a good idea to take one.
Fantastic. And so if we take a loan like this, will this increase our tax?
No, loans are not taxable. The interest would be if you deposit the money, but the actual, the money that you get from a loan, like my £25,000 that I borrowed, that's not income, that's taxable. It's not a taxable event.
Okay, fantastic. And if onto sort of self-employed, so I'm self-employed. If I didn't pay my 50% deposit at the end of July this year, then when are taxes payable now?
Okay, so again, that's just recently changed. As you know, you have to make a deposit in July and then the final instalment in January. So if you had taxes to pay in July, then they've said that if you can't afford to pay, you don't have to pay at that point. But there's no free ride on taxes. You're going to eventually have to pay them. And now they're saying that all taxes, even the amount that becomes due in January, will be payable over the whole of next year. So what they're saying is you can split the amount that you owe in January over 12 months. But the issue is that you're going to have to pay it in the end. So you've got to pay it by the end of January 2022. But it is a help. It's a cash flow help. But everybody at this point in time really should have a cash flow forecast. So they're putting all of these events in and they can see what's happening with their money. But for self-assessment taxation, they've deferred all the dates and they're now payable over a 12-month period, February, March, April, June in 2020.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, because usually if I've had to pay mine sort of on the 31st of January, and that can be quite a hard month to do it. So that's good to know that I can spread that out. So, do you think that the self-employment grant and employment grant scheme is fair?
I don't. I think they're a good idea, but I don't think what's not fair is that some people didn't get any. So if you weren't in an employment contract in February of this year, and if you didn't have a 2018-19 tax return, you don't qualify. And so there's a lot of people that didn't happen to be having a parcel when the music stopped, if that's the way of referring to it, and they don't get anything. And that just doesn't seem fair to me, in that the people that get it, and the people that don't happen to be in the right situation at the right time don't get it. And I'm actually arguing, along with a lot of other people, for universal basic income. And there needs to be a mix of solutions to getting money back into the economy and supporting everybody, not just those people that have got the ability to get a loan or were in the right place at the right time to get a self-employment grant or an employment grant.
Yeah, no, I do. I agree with you. There's a lot of people I know who have sort of lost out on this. Um, Also, the grant system for the self-employment is confusing. So, who is eligible for that?
Well, these grants are all getting, they've released information earlier in the year as to who would get a grant. And now, and they keep on changing things. And it's like most things about taxation, it's becoming very complex. And if you're keeping up with the story, it's okay. You can add another bit of knowledge onto the knowledge you've already got. But now it's getting quite complicated to understand who gets what and when. And so with the self-employment scheme, that's not changed. We've had 2 grants already. One was for 80%. There's another one for 70%, which finishes at the end of October. And now we've had a further announcement, is that there's 2 tranches of 20% for up to January, and then from January to April next year.
Okay, yeah. So you've kind of covered my next question, which how much do they get and when? So that's good to know that there are some extra bits coming out for people to help. So is the money received from the self-employed scheme taxable as well, or?
Yeah, that will be taxable. That's like profits. So the money you get from self-employment, that goes onto your tax return as though it was earnings. Yes.
Okay, all right, brilliant. And the employed furlough scheme is also really confusing. So for businesses out there, what's happening with that? How can they find out?
Well, that's an interesting thing, because whereas with the self-employment scheme, that continues. So the old rules that we saw, where there's a cut-off if you earn more than £50,000, or if you've got more, 50% of your income comes from elsewhere, you don't get it. So that self-employment scheme continues as it was. But with the furlough scheme, the employment scheme, the old one's being ripped up and a new one is being introduced. And so if you fail to get onto the last one, you might be able to get onto the new one. But the new scheme is completely different from the old one, in that whereas before it was furloughing and you put to one side and you were able to get a grant, or your employer could get a grant to continue paying you. With the new scheme, they have to employ you for 33% of your normal time. And then if they do that, they can top up your wages and the government give them a grant. And the grant, whereas the old scheme was 80% and then reducing down to 70, then 60, this new grant is 22% of the cost of employing somebody. And so it's a completely new scheme, and it starts from the 1st of November. Okay,
and I'm sure that they can find out a lot more from you later. I'll give you your details so people can find out more. But finally, 2 more quick questions. You say at TBLA, which Triple Bottom Line Accounting, that you're caring, professional and progressive. And I know you're also about sort of people, planet, prosperity. So what does this mean?
Well, our key words is you'd expect every accountancy firm to be professional. We're progressive in that we're a digital accountancy practice. We'd have no paper, everything's in the cloud. And we're trying to work on what caring actually means. And our focus is on knowledge and helping our clients and really caring about them understanding what their taxes are and how they can do best with the existing tax system. We promote that people pay a fair amount of tax, but we care that they understand why they're paying the tax and that they're paying the right amount.
Yeah, and I think, and as well, I mean, I've seen you, I know you would probably have a lot of sort of you're very eco-focused, and the show is sort of aimed at eco-conscious business owners. You're a living wage employee as well, and you also a climate perks employee as well. So I know that you do a lot for people. What would you say is your best, quickly, as your best eco-business tip? Well,
I think this is a whole parcel of issues. We're very concerned, as a lot of people are, about climate change. But I think it starts by looking after the things around you, most importantly. And so my top eco tip is look after the things around you, the things that you have an influence over. And so in business at Triple Bottom Line Accounting, we're really trying to look after the team so that they feel part of the team, part of a trusted family. We trust them to do their work really, really well. We give them a 4-hour week. We support them in everything that they want to do individually and for their families. And I think we're being selfish, because if we're good to our team, they'll be good to the clients and good to the practice. So I think that the best eco tip is to do what you can locally and the best thing to the people around you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you. And we have come to the end of the show. So if you want to find more about Triple Bottom Line Accounting, they are on all the social media channels. So just search for Triple Bottom Line Accounting. And if you need a caring professional and progressive accountant, such as Peter, the first consultation is free. So you can call Peter. I will put the number in the comments and on the post, so you can give them a call. So thank you so much for joining us, Peter.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
Really good to have you on the show. Some great insights and tips there. And goodbye for now. And we will see you next week.